What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. As usual, right off the top, I will invite you, if you haven't done so yet, or if you're new to the program, please subscribe and follow on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get your podcasts. When you're done with that, give us a like, share it with a friend. Hey, leave a comment. Every little bit helps. You know, the algorithm. I don't know how any of that stuff works, but apparently any interaction is helpful. So if you do it, it is very much appreciated. Today's positive motivational message is never give up hope. Never lose faith. No matter how many times you get knocked down, you pick yourself back up. As bad as things may seem, as dark as the world may seem around you, just remember, it is only darkest before the dawn. Eventually that light will shine its way through and guide you to the promised land. So long as you hold on to hope and believe that good will come, all good things are possible. And with that, let's get into today's episode. It's episode 268 of Life's a Garden. Oh, lordy, lordy, yes, my God, we can never give up hope. We can never lose faith. Because even when your football team is down 19-0 going into the fourth quarter, somehow, some way, you can still score 33 points and win the game in the most miraculous comeback in NFL history. And let me tell you, now I know we like to start, like usually I'll save the NFL talk, the football talk, toward the end of the episodes. But after that, we gotta start with it. What could be more exhilarating to talk about than the most insane comeback I've ever seen in a football game? And this is the second one I've seen, and I got to be there live for the first one. It was down in San Diego when the Broncos came back down 27-0 at halftime, which was an unbelievable game. I think they still say it's the biggest comeback in Monday Night Football history. The difference between that one and this one, we hadn't scored for 3 straight quarters. We went into the fourth quarter and scored 33 points, which is just unreal. And let's be honest, looked like absolute shit for the first 3 quarters. Like drop passes, terrible execution, poor play calling, just turnovers on down, like couldn't get any rhythm going. And it just looked like all hope was lost. Like we couldn't do anything. And, you know, we were down by 3 possessions. You have very little time left. I, honest to God, for real, don't even know how it's possible that we did that. And not only did we score enough to get ahead, they scored points in the fourth quarter. So we not only had to climb 3 possessions in, we had to keep climbing because they kept scoring. Now, there was as many like miraculous things possible that needed to happen. Their kicker missed 2 extra points. We converted 2 2-point conversions. We got a turnover. Literally, a miracle. An absolute miracle. Which is why I say, you can't give up hope. Because sometimes hope is all you have. And every now and again, God smiles on you and grants you a fucking wish because, whoo, daddy, like, the bar was going berserk. We had a shit ton of Broncos fans there. Everybody was down. We had completely given up. Like, because I just thought statistically there's zero chance. There's not enough time. We're not playing well enough. And I've never seen a spark light under a team like it did on Sunday with the Broncos. It was just absolutely insanity. And I got to be a part, to be a fan. I'm sure it was crazy if you're not a fan of the Broncos. I'm sure it was crazy enough to see that happen. As a fan, it's intensified by a million because you're the one feeling the pain of getting your ass kicked for 3 quarters and like not knowing how you're going to do the rest of the season because you look like absolute shit. Where do we fix the problems? Like, all these other questions are going through your head. And then just boom, boom, boom. A few plays happen, and all of a sudden you're back in the game. And now you're like, oh, wow, like, I can't believe we even did this. And even still, you're doubting the fact that you could possibly win the game. And then you do. They scored a touchdown with 38 seconds left on the clock, and that's when the kicker missed the extra point, so they were up by 2 points. 38 seconds, 0 timeouts. We stretch the field with 2 giant passes, get us in field goal range for a 39-yard field goal, and nail it. It's just unreal. Even at that point, I was like, okay, well, now we're done. Like, it was a fun ride, got our hopes up, we thought we had a chance, and then they were dashed, and we're still going to end up losing this game. Oh, no, sir. I seriously just don't believe that was happening, that happened. But, so long as number 10 is on the field, you always gotta believe. But even still, that was an unbelievable comeback. So, had to start off with that because nothing's going to get me more amped than thinking about that comeback. I still see highlights throughout the week because why wouldn't you? That's what they're going to promote the whole time is that game because it was just so insane. And every time I see it, I just light up. I'm like, damn, I still can't believe it happened. And yes, we have a lot of things we got to fix. We are not perfect by any standard. Apparently, we just show up in the fourth quarter because that's the third fourth quarter comeback we've achieved in this season. We've only won 5 games. Well, not only. That's pretty good to have won 5 games. And this week we got the Cowboys, who have a great offense, questionable defense. We're quite the opposite. We kind of have a questionable offense and a great defense. So, that could be an interesting matchup. But we'll get to the picks later. We'll talk more football at the end. I just had to get that off the chest. I had to talk about my excitement of that game and just how crazy it was. You know, like I said, we were down in the dumps. I was hugging people I didn't know because of how just jacked I was. The sucky thing was I thought we had won the game already because we stopped them on 4th down. So I thought game's over, we won. Roughing the passer penalty. Then they go down the field, pass interference penalty, which, by the way, both were bullshit. Felt like the refs were trying to rob us of that win. And even still, we came back. So then after hugging everybody, I'm like, shit. All right, well, now the refs are going to give this game away. And then we won it again. It was an absolute roller coaster in the fourth quarter. All the emotions were felt. And I slept pretty damn good that night because I've been sleeping really good, actually, because, well, the adrenaline dump after all that was immense. But throughout this week, God, the weather's been beautiful. Just sleeping cold. Last night, I woke up drooling. And you know, anytime you wake up in a puddle of drool, that is when you are sleeping the hardest because you are just so unconscious that your body's not even thinking about keeping saliva inside of you. So that was a nice little, and I was all, one of those where you just wake up and you're like, huh? Where am I? So the sleep has been on point this week. But cheers to the Denver Broncos. I think that deserves, and we haven't done it in a while here on the show, I think that deserves an ice cold, tasty beverage. And you know what? Hey, cheers to us. Cheers to the podcast. 2 in a row? We actually achieved 2 episodes in a row? Do you know how big this is for us? This never happens. Like, lately, I should say. It's been a rough go at it trying to get a consistent schedule. But hey, we figured it out. We got back-to-back, and I know we're going to have one next week because it's the Halloween special. Always got to do the Halloween special. Oh, yeah. That tastes like victory right there. And in other sports, we don't just have football that's kicking ass. NBA is officially back. My Denver Nuggets are playing tonight. Obviously, as this comes out, it will have been yesterday that they played, which we're keeping the Friday schedule for right now. It seems to be working. And, we got Halloween next Friday, so it'll just be perfect. But, yes. Halloween. NBA. Denver Nuggets, first game of the season will be yesterday. And I'm really hoping that it's going to be a good game. We got the Warriors. My brother's team. Should be a good game. I mean, the Warriors have already played, which I thought was kind of odd that we're playing so late. There's been a lot of teams that have already played twice now. But it's all good. Like, I'm excited. I'm honestly super excited for this team. I think the Nuggets are as good as they've ever been on paper. We'll see how it translates on the court. We got a lot of new faces on the team, but I like the faces we got. Put it all on the Nuggets to win the championship. Now, obviously, that's the worst advice you could take from a guy like me who is extremely biased. But I sincerely believe that we can win the championship. I already told you I put a bet down on the Avs and the Nuggets to both win the championships. That's how much I believe. The Avs are kicking ass too. Now, granted, they lost the other night. Well, it was an overtime loss, so they still get a point for that. They are currently tied, as of right now, with 12 points in the West, with the Vegas Knights, I believe. Awesome. Avs are looking good. We'll see how the Nuggets pull off tonight, Hopefully, I'm hoping for the best. I trust in them. This is the best time of sports. We got basketball, we got hockey, we got football, and by the way, the World Series is begun. Huge bummer for Seattle Mariners fans. I'm not a Mariners fan, but I was pulling for them. That's who I wanted to see win. They were up 3-0, and they ended up losing the game. The one to go to the World Series, and they've never been. Like, that's just like, you're that close to the golden ring, and you just cannot reach it. God, that's got to be so heartbreaking for Mariners fans. I can only imagine. Congratulations to the Toronto Blue Jays, though. They haven't been to the championship since, like, the late 90s. So, good on them. I have nothing against them except for that they're fucking Canada. And now I got to root for Canada because fuck the Dodgers. Absolutely fuck the Dodgers. But I guess if they win, I can always say fuck you Canada too. So, yeah, whatever. Baseball's my least of my excitement for anything. This is just the best time of the year for sports. Speaking of the NBA, I might as well talk about this. A little bit of hot water for a few individuals involved in the NBA. Just today, news broke that the FBI has arrested former player and current coach Chauncey Billups, as well as current player Terry Rozier, and former player / coach, I think. I can't remember his name now, though. I can't remember. There's been 3 guys who were arrested today by the FBI because of their involvement in illegal gambling. Now, they talked about how Chauncey Billups was like a poker thing that had to do with the mafia, and I'm sure that was part of it. But the main reason that their involvement and these guys got caught up in this is sports gambling. They were illegally giving information about, especially with Chauncey being in a leadership role and having like a power control where he can actually. I'm not sure what Terry Rozier did on his part. I'm being like I'm being told. I was about to be like, I'm being told by reliable sources. My sources, which is ESPN, everybody's source. What they're saying on ESPN and sports medias is that Chauncey Billups was telling this goes back years, couple years now, was telling sports bettors or telling certain individuals that certain players were not going to be playing when it said that they were probable to play, and then come to find out later they weren't designated to play, which completely, that changes the odds tremendously. Even if they're not favored, if you can bet on them before the line drops, you're making a lot more money. Or if you bet on the other team before their line increases, their odds increase to win, you're making a lot of money. So, yeah, that's illegal. You can't do that. And we'll see how this progresses. It sounds like this was like a 2-year-long investigation. But wild news for the NBA starting off the season. You got a current coach, and a player, Terry Rozier, who plays for the Miami Heat right now, involved in illegal sports betting, which has been kind of a problem notoriously more in the NBA than I think in, like, there's been a few guys from the NFL who have been suspended or even like just blacklisted from the NFL for doing that. I feel like there's been a lot in the NBA. And the NBA, there's always been like criticism that the NBA is rigged. And things like this don't help those claims. So, we'll see the repercussions of all this. It's pretty bad though, it sounds like. And what wild news to wake up to this morning that these guys, and the fact that they said that there was mafia crime families involved. I didn't even know that was still a thing. Like, we still he was naming like super Italian sounding names, and I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing, that the mafia was still around. Like, it doesn't necessarily surprise me. I just wasn't aware that there was like 4 big crime families that were of like notoriety to the FBI. So, there's going to be a documentary about that. 32 people were arrested over the span of 11 different states. Just glad my boys weren't involved, because that would have been heartbreaking. Oh, there was talk about, like, the Lakers have some involvement, too, where, like, there was information being given about LeBron. And I think that had to do with that other guy who was already out of the league. I'm not sure all the specific details, so you can go check on all that and get all the information yourself, but crazy business, this sports betting stuff. But I can do all the sports betting I want, and I'm not involved in any of that, so obviously I'm not going to try and get illegal information. I just do it from the heart, and I lose a lot of money. That's how it goes, right? Let's see what else. We can move past all that. The No Kings protest. Let's talk about that, because that seems to be a hot topic of conversation, right? Was driving downtown the other day, saw this. I didn't know it was happening. Once again, this is twice now. Twice we've had a No Kings protest here in Billings. And honestly, the gathering was pretty big, right? And listen, whether I agree or disagree with whatever it is you're protesting, I have no issue with you doing it. You are free. That is one of your First Amendment rights, is to peacefully assemble and speak your mind and have free speech. I have no issue with it whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? My question is, how many of these No Kings protests are going to happen before nothing takes place? I mean, let's just say this, honestly. Successful protest, right? Like, they succeeded in their mission because no kings. There's still no kings here. There weren't before, but there still aren't now, so hey, great job. We should have protests like this all the time. You know? Like, just protest things that don't exist. You know? Like, a no aliens protest. You know, that's something that people think exists. That's something that especially right now, it's like a hot topic. Let's just be like, no aliens. No aliens. It's Halloween time. No ghosts. No ghosts. We don't need no spirits around here. Now, that's debatable whether that's real or not. But yeah, let's just debate things that, or let's protest things that aren't a problem right now. Now, I trust me, I'm not ignorant. I know the purpose of the protest and like what they're standing for. I just think it's funny to call it a No Kings protest while there's no king to protest against. You know what I mean? And the funny thing, so I thought about this too, actually. When did protests become like this weekend activity? That's kind of what it seems like. It's like protests have become like this little weekend activity so that people can get out of the basement of their house and hang out with their buddies, hang out with the people that they have things in common with. They can get off the computer, they can stop scrolling the internet and finding all the fucking things that make them angry, and they can go be angry together on the weekend. That's kind of what it is, right? They're kind of more just like little hangouts. It's like, whether you're liberal or conservative or whatever, you know, either side, it doesn't matter. I'm not picking on one or the other. They're these like angry, like internet sleuths that are like, you know what? Let's take this on the street. Let's all get together and hang out. They're all dressed in costumes and like high-fiving and like, that's basically what it is, right? It's just a hangout. It's like, it's a hangout disguised as a protest. Yeah, they bring their signs and they do all that, but it just feels like this hangout. It's like an after-school program type thing. And I just find that funny. And when did that start happening? Because there, especially here in Billings, like this protest thing, we rarely saw protests. Now, I think this year alone, there's been fucking 20, 30 protests. I don't know that I've seen 20 or 30 protests in Billings in my life. You know what I'm saying? And if there were, they were like 10 people or something. But now, and then, like I said, it's both sides of the aisle. They're both doing it. Because when one does it, the other group has to be like, well, it's our turn. We got to show, because, you know, they did the Charlie Kirk it's not a protest, I guess. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it was a gathering for the Charlie Kirk. All these political gatherings. Like, honest to, like, what could be more boring? And I equate it to me going to the bar to hang out with my friends and watch sports. That's basically the same thing. It's all these people going to hang out outside and bitch about politics. I go to bitch about sports and get angry at sports. They go to get angry about Trump. It's the same thing. It's just under the two different, like, umbrellas. But it's basically the same thing. Mine is sports, yours is politics. Which I guess, in a sense, they could say the same about me. Like, they don't get how I get off on sports and how I enjoy sports. I don't understand how they like complaining or how they like being angry at politics. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, they're gonna say like, well, we're standing up against or for justice, and we're trying to write history and be on the right side of history. It's like, yeah, me too. I'm trying to be on the right side of history. I want the Broncos to win a Super Bowl. I want the Nuggets to win an NBA Finals. That's my history. That's the history I want written. Okay, so we're both on the same page. Like, we both agree on that. We're trying to support history. And guess what? Me being at the bar rooting for my team is doing just as much to help them win a championship as what you're doing is to get whatever you want done. Because guess what? It's pretty much useless. Like, it's not going to do anything. My yelling and screaming for the Nuggets to win the game is the same thing as what you're doing, yelling and screaming at cars and holding up your signs to get your thing done. They're not really very useful. You know what I mean? People know that I'm a Broncos fan and a Nuggets fan, and people know that you're a liberal or a conservative. Cool. What's it doing to change anything? You know what I mean? Also, I find it like kind of interesting that there seems to be a big switch where a lot of the older crowd is very left-leaning, and a lot of the younger crowd these days is a lot more conservative, which doesn't surprise me in a way, because that's kind of the cycle that it usually happens in. Usually when you think about an older person, you think they're going to be a little bit more on the conservative side, which is probably majority true. But, and obviously the younger crowd is usually leans more liberal, more left-leaning. But it's funny how that's kind of changing a little bit. There seems to be a bigger group of, I shouldn't say they're bigger than the left-leaning group, but more than usual. Same with the older crowd. It's just it seems like a larger number of older people that are leaning left and a larger number of younger people that are starting to lean right. So you're starting to see the switch happening here. Don't know why that is. It's just something I've observed. Also, I think it's funny that, it's the No Kings protest. While I'm almost positive there's a giant chunk of those people that are protesting No Kings that will stay up and watch the royal wedding, that are huge fans of Game of Thrones and huge fans of Lord of the Rings. Like, I'm sure they're like, we love those. But I mean, you like those kings. You like when it's the British, who are like your allies, right? They're like a liberal ally. They have a king. We're gonna get rid of him too? You want to get rid of him? I heard stories that like the No Kings protests even like bled over to England, and it's like, bro, your song, your literal anthem is "God Save the King." What are we doing here? So, I just think it's funny that these guys are probably sitting there reading books and fantasizing about things with kings in them, and then it's like, no kings, can't have any kings. Don't worry, there isn't. Also, I find it funny that they're like they'll just find anything to bitch about when it comes to Trump. Like this whole White House remodeling thing where they're demolishing part of the White House to put up a new ballroom that, according to certain things I've read, is being fully funded by Trump. Don't know how true that is. I'm not saying it is. But they're like, how dare he tear down the White House, and it's just like he's tearing down the Constitution. It's like, do you know how many times the White House has been renovated? I think the last time it had like a major renovation was during the Obama administration, to which they did in fact use taxpayer money to fund. I mean, multiple times throughout history, it's been like heavily renovated. Hell, that's not even the original White House. It got burned down in 1812 by the British and was rebuilt. So it's not even the original White House. Like, granted, it's still old as fuck, but has been renovated over and over and over again. So this is nothing new, but yet let's just pick some little thing to bitch about with Trump. Like, that is not a big deal. Now, don't get me wrong. I know and I agree that there are certain things that Trump has done and said and implemented that I don't agree with. You know what I mean? But these are like actual issues. Renovating the White House, pretty minuscule. You know what I mean? It's just dumb to even like complain about that when there's been many a presidents before that have done the same. So I just thought that was funny. Speaking of kings, gotta send a huge rest in peace and some respect out there for the late great, not late great, late great, whatever. Ace Frehley. Ace Frehley from the band Kiss passed away. Which, and there, honestly, there's been a few of them. Ace Frehley died. Brother from Limp Bizkit died, the bass player. I want to make sure I say their names, because Rivers, I think, is his last name. From Limp Bizkit. Sam Rivers, yeah. Rivers. So Sam Rivers passed away too. God, I feel like there was one more that we lost too. But, you know, Ace Frehley, that's a big one. I'm not a Kiss fan. I've never been a huge Kiss fan. In fact, I kind of fucking hate Kiss. But I respect Kiss. Like, they were huge, you know, like the Kiss Army, like, they were massive. I can't stand Gene Simmons. Can't stand Paul Stanley. Honestly, Ace Frehley might have been the only one out of the band that I actually could stand a little bit. Nonetheless, was never a fan of their music. Am still not a fan of their music. But it doesn't change the fact that this was a legend and in the music industry, and I'm obviously a huge music fan. I have a massive respect for those that are in music. And when you're in a band that's as absolutely monstrous and gigantic as Kiss, I'm going to give you your flowers. So, R.I.P. to Ace Frehley. Another legend fucking lost this year. Just like, this is... We always have, like, you know, there's always celebrity deaths. This year feels like it's just gigantic. You know, like a lot of giant legends. Peacing out. But anyway, yeah, just wanted to throw out Ace Frehley's name. You know what I noticed? We're going to go into a little segment here that I'm going to call Dakota's Inner Thoughts. Dakota's, I guess they wouldn't be called irrational thoughts, but the inner mind of Dakota, the day-to-day mind. What is it with gas stations where that they are just a mecca for weirdness? Like, I would say 80% of gas stations, no matter what side of town they're on, you go into a gas station, 80% of the time, you're going to have a weird interaction or there's going to be a lot of fucking weird people hanging out. It's like, it is a beacon for weirdness. Like the other day, I'm getting some gas. I go inside. Like normally, I would pay at the pump, but I need to go get some Zins. So I slide on into the inside. Immediately, just weird. Weird vibes all around. I'm walking up to the counter. There's this one girl standing there that's all like, all geeking out and literally looked straight out of, like, how you would depict a crackhead on television or in a movie. Freaking crop top shirt, just spun out hair, just kind of like, she wasn't like geeking like that, but she was really like, kind of moving around, and I'm like, Jesus Christ. So I go up and I'm trying to get my Zins, and the girl at the counter's weird, and like I overhear, because there was there's two registers open. I overhear the geeker walk up and say to the person, she's like, yeah, so I came in about 10 minutes ago, and I gave y'all $20 to put on my gas tank, and I forgot to pump the gas. I'm like, oh, what? And by the way, she was parked at the pump, like, at an angle, like, basically facing toward the pump. I'm like, and I saw that when I walked in, I was like, who the fuck parks like this? And of course, it was her car. But you put $20 into the pump and then forgot to pump gas? Like, how fucking spun are you, lady? It could have also been a scam where she's trying to get her money back, or like trying to get 20 extra bucks on the tank. Who knows? That one was weird to me. And that was the story. That was the moment when I was like, Jesus. This happens all the time when I go into a gas station. There's always weirdos. And it's like, they're buying groceries there. I'm like, dude, that makes no sense. You're losing money by you're not saving a buck by getting your stuff at the gas station. So I don't know why people who are like, I don't know. They're a mecca for geekers. I'll say that. Besides town pumps, with the exception of the town pump in the Heights, which always has weird shit going on. Actually, you know what? I take it back. Town pumps are not exempt. Do you know how much weird shit I've seen at the town pump on King Avenue and 32nd? Town pumps are not exempt. Like I said, I'll say like 80% of gas stations are decent, or like their chances of running into weirdness are slim. Where others, it's like a 99% chance something weird's going to happen. Whether it's the person running the register or anybody inside. There's always weirdness. And I don't know why. I don't know what it is about gas stations that just sucks on all the weirdness. But that was a little bit of a inner thought I had over the week. In addition to some weird inner thoughts, why don't I talk about my urinal thoughts? Okay? Because I noticed this past weekend, every time I'm at the urinal, there's a lot going on upstairs. And it's always weird. It's always like, okay, that sounds bad. I have weird thoughts at the urinal. No, that's not what I meant. I guess I wonder, to all my male listeners out there, I wonder if I'm the only one that thinks like this, right? Now, the second you walk into the bathroom, right? You're already thinking. You're already like, your mind's already going. First thought, this is a pretty general thought that most guys have. Which urinal do I go to? For me, I always try and pick the one closest. If there's multiple urinals, let's say there's 5 urinals, I'm taking one of the ones on the end, because then there's only one stall next to me for anybody to stand by. Pretty general, this is not uncommon. And if there's somebody at the stall, you go to the one with an empty one in between. Now, if there's 2 stalls, there's not a whole lot you can do. You just got to go to one or the other. Usually you take the taller one, because there's always going to be a short one for the kiddos. So I always take the taller one. Whenever I'm at the smaller one, my first thought is, okay, aim properly because we're at a different angle here. General rule at the urinal, you don't talk to the other person when you're peeing. You just don't talk at the urinal. We don't do that. Now, if somebody does talk to me, general thought for myself, I'm one word answering you. Uh-huh. Yep. I'm trying to kill that conversation as fast as possible. Now, if I've been doing a little bit of drinking, I might have a little conversation with you. But I will never strike up the conversation. The only time you'll ever catch me talking at the urinal is if I'm talked to first. Plain and simple. And the only time I'm talking at the urinal is when I'm drunk. Or if I'm loosened up a little bit. Yeah. But here's some random thoughts that occur to me while I'm at the urinal. Let's just say I'm in there taking a piss. Somebody comes in and pees next to me. I will actively think, okay, pee into the water and forcefully pee as hard as you can so that it sounds like you have the most violent stream ever. So they're like, damn, that guy's got some he's got some flow going on over there. You know what I mean? Like, I want to make that person know, even though they're probably not paying attention at all, I want them to know, like, I'm like gushing out here. You know, I got a fucking fireman's hose coming out on this end of the bathroom. Next thought is because I got a big bladder. I pee longer than a normal fucking gentleman. There has been many a times where I will be peeing at the urinal, somebody walks in, they go pee next to me, and they're done before I am. And I started before they even got through the door. In my head, I'm like, okay, I gotta like make a little pee noise here. Because, you know, sometimes when you're peeing on the back of the urinal, it's like pretty quiet. So I'm like, I gotta pee into the water so that this guy still, or at least make enough force where it's gonna give you that splashing sound. Because I want this guy to know I'm not just standing here doing nothing. This guy needs to know you're dealing with a real pisser over here. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you walked in, I was peeing. I wasn't fucking around, and I don't have any shyness. Like, this shit was coming out when you walked in. I need you to know that I ain't got a nervous bladder. Your boy, when he's got to go, he goes. And so when you're done, when your short little stream, when your fucking tiny little bladder is done emptying your little shot glass, this gallon over here, he's still going. So I need you to know that I wasn't just fucking around over there. It's been going the whole time. And yes, you should be impressed. Oh, what are some other urinal thoughts that I've had? Oh, dude, like anytime somebody's taking a shit in the this is more of an intrusive thought. Whenever somebody's taking a shit and I'm taking a piss, I always want to be like, "Oh my God." You know, Jesus, guy. Especially if it does stink. Like, I want so bad to, like, let them know, like, dude, come on. Blowing this motherfucker up. But I won't, because usually I'm afraid that because I pee so long, they'll be done shitting before I'm done peeing. and then they'll come out and see who said it. Because usually I have no fear because they can't see me. But in that case, I do. Like, I don't need them coming out and be like, bro, come on, be cool about it. Because anytime I've had to public shit, now, if we want to talk about public bathroom usage, I'm the worst. I hate public shitting. I'm sure most people kind of agree. If I gotta go, I will go. Like, I'm not gonna, like, suffer. I'm not gonna punish myself. But let me tell you, I will try and go at the least busy traffic time when I think there's a chance nobody's gonna be in there. I will pre-roll the toilet paper before I even cheek down. And I will just blast every ounce out of me as fast as I can. Wipe, flush, done. We're getting out of here as fast as possible. If I can find a locking bathroom or somewhere where I know I got some privacy, awesome. You know what I mean? Awesome. But usually that's not the case. Usually you're in a public bathroom. There's a very high chance somebody else is walking in. Can I just say this? The airport, Billings Airport, bravo. Every public restroom should be like the Billings Airport, where there's 8 different stalls, like urinals, great. Have as many urinals as you want. Private stalls with a fully bricked out, it's a room. It's your own personal bathroom with a fucking deadbolt lock and your own personal hand washing station. It is the best. Like, every public restroom should be like that. I don't understand these stalls where you can, like, look through the fucking cracks, and I don't need any, where they see your shoes and they know who's stinking it up. Hate that. Like, I hate public pooping. I will actively avoid doing that. But, yeah. Just a few random urinal thoughts from your boy. All right, let's get into some sports talk here. I forgot to mention, now we talked about NFL, we talked about some NBA action, and then a little bit of hockey action there too. UFC is this weekend, and I forgot, like, we just had a pay-per-view. October is usually, I forget that October is usually the month where they'll do like 2 in 1 month. Totally forgot that it was happening. Also, it's happening at noon, which sucks, because I don't even know if they're going to show it at the bar. But yeah, the main card starts at noon on Saturday, and that also sucks because it's right during college football, you know, so that's going to suck. The big fight is Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gahn. I've got Tom Aspinall all day on that one. Like, the 2 losses that Cyril Gahn has are in title fights. It's about to be 3. Because I think Tom Aspinall is going to destroy him. Could be a good one, though, I hope. We got Marina Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern in a title fight, which I didn't even know they were going to do a strawweight title fight, because the current strawweight champion, who is Zhang Wei Li, is fighting a champion versus champion fight next month with Valentina Shevchenko. So I don't, and this is not a very interesting title fight. Like, I'm not like super over the moon about that. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. You know, I gotta take Umar, right? Like, that just seems like the most obvious pick. Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida. That could be a good fight. Alexander Volkov is just one of those guys that is so unpredictable in the heavyweight division. Like, he'll lose to a guy you don't think he should lose to, and he'll beat a guy you don't think he should beat. Jailton Almeida is a fucking beast. I think that's a great fight. We'll see what happens. Alexander Rakic versus Azmat Murzakova. Murzakova. Yeah, I got nothing on that name. Who is 15-0. And Alexander Rakic is a light heavyweight contender. That could be a good fight. This is in Abu Dhabi, so that's why they got a lot of the Dirks on the fucking card. The rest of the card is not overly impressive, actually, which is fine because it's really early in the morning. Who's that? Yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot of great fights here in the early or in the prelims. Prelims start at 8, And then the main card starts at noon. So I better make sure I'm not hungover that day. The only fight I actually do give a shit about is Tom Aspinall. Like, that should be a good one. But it's basically it on the UFC side. NFL. What do we got for NFL? Like, besides Broncos, I already talked about my Broncos. We are playing the Cowboys this week. That should be a fun one. I did just learn today that the Cowboys have not beaten the Broncos since 1995. And they haven't won in Denver since 1992, I think? Something like that. It was like the last time they beat us at all was in the early 90s. So we're on like a 6 or 7 game winning streak, and the last time we played the Cowboys, I was there live watching them win, which was awesome. That was in in Dallas. So we'll see. This one's kind of a toss-up for me. Based on the performance last week that the Broncos had, I'm not overly confident, but don't stop Bo-lievin. Like, he's the man. So we'll see what happens. Anything's possible. Cowboys are looking pretty good. Dak Prescott looks good. Just hope our defense shows up and executes. Chiefs continue to look great. Let me look at the schedule here. That way I can actually give some shout outs to certain teams and maybe some comment on a few of these guys here. Blah, 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 blah. Dolphins continue to suck. Chargers are doing exactly what the Chargers always do, which is look great to start the season and then start falling apart. I think Lamar Jackson's still out for the Ravens. They said that he's most likely going to miss this week. So that's... Oh, bro. Can we talk about the Steelers versus the Bengals game on Thursday? What a game. That was incredible. For two guys over 40 just slinging the rock. That was an unbelievable game. That was a fun one to watch. I just wanted to shout that one out because I had low expectations for that, and they delivered. I'm not going to give my picks just yet. We'll go through that here in a minute. I just want to talk about things that happened throughout the week. Colts, man, they continue. And Jonathan Taylor might be the best running back in the NFL. He is looking sick. I think he has 10 touchdowns on the season. That's unreal. The dude's doing a good job. Jaden Daniels is out this week. That sucks. Eagles still can't really figure them out. They just dominated the team they played. Who'd they play? The Vikings? Yeah, they absolutely mollywopped them. Which I won my picks, by the way, last week. If you want to go back and check the picks, your boy did pretty good. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and just dive into the picks. I can kind of rant about some of these teams while we're picking them. So let's see what we got. All right, Thursday night, which is tonight as of recording this, but it will have been yesterday. I am officially picking the Chargers. Now, Vikings are coming off they just played in London, did they? Who did the Vikings play last week? They played the Eagles. It wasn't in London, though. No. Oh, but it's a short week. Well, it's a short week for both of them, right? They both played, yeah. So it's a short week for both of them. It's in San Diego, in L.A. I still say San Diego. Isn't that weird? So yeah, they both got the short week. Carson Wentz is still playing. I feel like the Chargers are eventually going to get a game put together, and Justin Herbert is playing pretty impressively this year. Even though they've been losing, his stats are pretty good. And the Chargers defense isn't that bad either, so that's why I'm picking the Chargers. It's at home. I don't know. I guess that's basically it. And the Vikings just have kind of not been looking great. Neither of these teams have really been looking that great, let's be honest. But I'm taking the home team here. Bills at Panthers. Panthers have been on a 3-game winning streak, and they haven't, that was my sleeper team coming into the season, and they looked like absolute dog shit for the first 4 weeks. The last 4 weeks, not so bad. So Or the last 3 weeks. Not so bad. But it comes to an end here. The Bills are just too good. Bills are going to put one on them. Taking the Bills. Jets at Bengals. Jets are just an absolute trash heap. They cannot get anything going. They seem hopeless, but never give up hope. But against the Bengals, don't know that this is going to happen. Joe Flacco looks great. Oh, yeah. I agree with Mike Tomlin, by the way. What an absolute dumb-ass fucking move by the Browns to trade away the quarterback that you named the starter. You believed he was good enough to be the starter of your team. You trade him to a divisional rival who needs a starting quarterback. I don't even know what they got in return. I think it was like a 4th-round pick. That was the most boneheaded fucking move I've ever seen by a team. Don't get it at all. And then they went and beat a divisional rival. You know, it just makes no sense. I get why Mike Tomlin would be very pissed. But Joe Flacco, man, good on him. He looks like he's clicking with that team. And now, granted, it's one game. No, it's the second game, I think, right? With the Bengals. But still, if he can sling the rock like that, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're going to feast. I'm taking the Bengals. Bears at Ravens. Lamar Jackson is not back. They're just coming off a bye week. This was kind of a tough one. I kind of thought about taking the Ravens. But without Lamar and the way the Ravens look this year and their defense just is terrible, Bears are kind of on a hot streak too. They've won 3 straight. Taking the Bears. Yeah, Bears on the road. And I love watching Baltimore fucking just suck. It's great. Browns at Patriots. Patriots are fucking good. Like, I hate it. I hate to say it. They're looking good. Drake May is fucking on fire right now. And good for Mike Vrabel. I like Mike Vrabel. I hate the Patriots, though. I'm taking them, though. Browns' defense is good. Their offense, no good. Taking the Patriots. Niners at Texans. I just can't get on board with the Texans. Now, the Niners, they've been banged up, and somehow they can still manage to eke out these wins. I'm taking the Niners. The Texans have not brought me over to their side. I can't get on board. Dolphins at Falcons. The Falcons are one of these teams. They're good one week, they're bad one week. They're good one week, they're bad one week. Unfortunately for the Dolphins, they're bad every week. And the Falcons were bad last week, which means they're going to be good this week. We're taking the Falcons. Giants at Eagles. The Giants, man, you got to imagine after that absolute dismantling in the fourth quarter, with that absolute heartbreaking loss, they're either going to come out like gangbusters or they're going to be completely defeated. Against the Eagles, I'm taking that option. They're going to get defeated. Eagles. Now, granted, let's remember the Giants did beat the Eagles, but it was in New York. I don't think the Eagles get beat by the Giants twice. We're taking the Eagles. Buccaneers at Saints. Bucks, rough loss last week against the Lions. Lions are a tough team, though. They are tough, especially after a loss. Baker Mayfield, MVP candidate, did not look so great in that game. A lot of overthrows. They correct it against a terrible divisional opponent, and they beat the Saints. Go Bucks. Titans at Colts. Dude, Colts could not be getting a better schedule right now. Colts are going to go 7-1. That's unreal. I don't think anybody would have predicted that. Titans suck ass. Colts are winning this one. Cowboys at Broncos. Enough said. Don't even need to continue. Broncos. We're taking Broncos. Always taking Broncos. Packers at Steelers. The Aaron Rodgers revenge game, even though he says he's not going to be seeking revenge. But this is an interesting one. This is the Sunday night game. Packers at Steelers. At Steelers is a very important part of this. Aaron Rodgers, it's just a good game. That was their franchise guy for the longest time. Won him a Super Bowl. And now they're playing against him, against the Steelers. Let me just say this. The Packers, in the first 3 weeks, looked like they were going to be an absolute domination factory. I had them pegged to go to the Super Bowl. I revoke that statement. I, honest to God, right now think the Packers are the most overrated team in the NFL. They have not been looking good whatsoever. Jordan Love is not that great. They remind me a lot of the Eagles right now, where, you have this franchise quarterback that you think is going to be so awesome, has been very much underperforming to their standard. Receivers are not really getting involved. Defense is questionable at best. Taking the Steelers in this one. I think the Packers are overrated as fuck. And finally, on Monday night, a single Monday night, no doubleheader. Commanders at Chiefs. Fucking Jaden Daniels, you're out. Commanders are dead in the water. I hate to say it because I fucking hate the Chiefs. Love to see a miraculous win here, but the Chiefs are going to fucking destroy the Commanders. And that breaks my heart to say because I hate the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are going to win. And those are your picks of the week. All right? Do with them as you will. If I was going to put a parlay together right now for the early games, I'm taking Bills at Panthers, because I bet you that's going to be a closer line than you think, because the Panthers are on a 3-game winning streak, and it's in Carolina. Take the Bills. I mean, the Bengals seems like it's a fucking gimme game against the Jets, so you might as well throw the Bengals in there. Patriots-Browns, that could be an interesting one. I don't know that... See, Texans, don't take Texans, or 49ers-Texans, because I'm not ready to bet on the Niners just yet. Falcons-Dolphins, that seems like it could be a trap game. Don't touch that one. Eagles-Giants, that could be interesting. Take the Bucks. Take the Bucks. Those are your locks, okay? The locks of the week: Bills at Panthers, Jets at Bengals. Take the Bengals. And Buccaneers at Saints, take the Bucks. Those are your locks, okay? And if you want to throw in an interesting one to add a fourth one in there, I would put in the Patriots. Bang. There you go. That's your picks. Those are your fucking... I think I'm going to make that parlay, actually. And if you're going to take the money line, take it on probably the Bills, because I think that line's going to be a little bit closer than people think. It's probably going to be at like 6.5. Who knows? All right, guys. That's it for the week. Thank you guys so much for listening. So glad we got 2 in a row in. It's wild. It feels weird. It feels good, actually. Go Broncos. Go Nuggets. Go Avs. Don't stop Bo-lievin. Don't ever stop believing. Don't ever give up hope. Because good things still happen. Good things can always happen. Never give up faith. But don't forget, most importantly, don't forget, life's a garden. Dig it. Just gotta keep on